to the cloud, and we'll kind of get started. So welcome aboard, everyone. We have about, I don't know, what, 16 people on so far, but we're not even at the top of the hour yet. So now. Anyways, this is just a live trade room kind of to discuss entries and how we trade. The reason why Pat brought me on board is mostly because I'm really good at strategy. I'm really good at coming up with a trading plan and following rules. And that's where most people are kind of falling short. Is just being able to come up with a trading plan and then follow the actual rules. So, I do check my currency strength meter, as you guys know. There's a free one for your phone, and there's several others as well. But in terms of Euro NZD, I just entered this trade. Kind of when the first person popped on, I think it was James. And the reason why I'm entering it is my money tree string turned purple. And my colors. I've got my MACD, which is now crossed over. My volume is crossed over. It's in line on most of the time frames, right? And on top of that, the euro is the euro is losing strength, and NZD is gaining strength. So when you have that kind of experience, you expect the trade to go really well. So, I mean, it's a hit or miss. Obviously, there's no guarantees, but I'll drag my stop loss and I'll put it up here. That's kind of a big wick, so you usually wouldn't put it this high. But let's go down to a smaller time frame. Let's see. If you guys wanted a smaller stop loss, you could put it at the previous high, which would be.
Where is your name?
Right here. See that? This right here. So that's where I'm going to put my stop loss. I always use a trailing stop. I never don't use a trailing stop. Since this is a longer term trade, I'm going to use 44. I usually stack entries, but for me, that's it. So if you guys want a live trade, that's a pretty good live trade. And then I kind of want to go over my trading plan as well as answer questions. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions in the chat, but then when it comes to the video, they get a little gun shy in terms of stepping up and announcing. So anyhow.
EUR NZD?
Yep.
Okay.
That's right. And the reason why is because the euro, let me go to the right one on my other screen. The euro is losing strength, right? So if the euro is using strength, we're selling this pair. And NZD is getting stronger.
Okay. Jenny, it's kind of hard for me to see. Is that, what hour frame is this on?
Sorry, let me see if I can give you a better view. Let me share. Advanced portion.
Time frame is on the top.
I can't see it.
Yeah, I just saw it. It's on hour 1 hour.
Right.
Okay.
Now you expanded too much, Jenny.
Sorry, y'all.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm on my MacBook only for the purpose of, I don't know what you guys see, actually.
No, actually, hold on. Let me send you a file, Jenny.
Okay.
Which is better. Where is it?
It won't even let me minimize it, guys. I only jumped on my MacBook so I could show you guys my spreadsheets tonight. Let's see, new share. I'm just going to share my entire desktop. Does that work better now? Is that better, guys?
Yeah, it looks good to me.
Hey. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay. So you guys can see my MT4 as the whole screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm on the VPS on the MacBook. Again, I just want to show you my numbers files tonight and kind of go over that information with you. So right now, if you guys are something on, we're showing Euro NZ and the 1 hour.
Right. Couple peaches.
Oh, it's okay.
I hear you.
Look, I want some pizza. Order me some too.
We had pizza.
All right.
That's what we had. Pizza.
Sounds good.
Usually I cook a lot, but I don't know. Today I had a meeting and then another meeting. So but anyhow, so I want you guys to look at this trade real quick. The reason why we're taking this trade, okay?
Okay.
What do we see right here where I drew this red line? Then make it yellow so it stands out. I'm gonna make it thicker. See where my yellow line is? All those extra indicators because we don't need them. And here's why. We have enough confluence right here that says this is going to go down for enough pips. Do we know for sure that it's going to go down forever and it's not a retracement? No, we don't. There's no one who knows that. But I expect that we easily pull out 100 pips. Somebody is like super Darth Vader breathing into the phone. So you're not talking. Can you mute your line? Moat? Your name keeps popping up on my screen.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. So if you can mute your line until you want to talk, that would be so great.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Jenny, could you start over?
Yeah. Hi, guys. Happy Wednesday. So we just took this trade. And the reason why I'm taking this trade is because the euro is losing strength. It's going down. And we have all the confirmations in terms of enough time frame. So if we go to the 15-minute chart, I don't trade off the 15-minute, guys. I just never did. I've lost a lot of money trying to learn how to scalp, and I decided I didn't want to learn anymore. I decided I was better doing it the right way than learning the wrong way. So on the 15-minute, we've got a lot of bouncing around here. Not a clear flag pattern or anything, but we do have rejection, right? Come up to the 30-minute. We still have our triple arrows. This would be a little arrow and then the seabird, right? And we've got purple again. So the money tree string line, it would be similar to the 9 and 18 crossover. It's pretty comparable. And of course, we've got our crossover in terms of the signal line for the MACD. But I'm taking this trade off the 1 hour. Okay? Because on the 1 hour, when this happens, my money tree string line turned purple. I had a crossover on my MACD, and my volume kind of crossed over. It's a little hard to see. But you can see how the volume is crossed over the 0 line. Can you see that? Right here. So that's why I'm going to take this trade. These dojis right here might bounce back up. So if you want a bigger stop loss, you can definitely put it back up here with the support and resistance. That's your preference. And you can go for however many pips. If you want to go for 30 pips, if you want to go for 100 pips, it's 1,000% up to you. Okay. And there's one other trade that I wanted to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on, Brian.
Hey, who's that? So right now we're looking at euro odd.
You say what now? Oh.
Right now we're looking at euro odd. And let's see. If we look at kind of some of our confirmations, it's not ready yet on the 1 hour, but it wicked off of previous support pretty hard, right? If we go down to a smaller time frame, We have it bouncing off of the AA ones. And it's not quite ready yet, but if this one gets ready during class, we can take this trade too. But as of right now, it's not ready. Do you guys see why? Do you guys see why we wouldn't enter this one yet?
Yes.
Is it because the MACD hasn't crossed over yet?
Well, it's not ready yet. I mean, so everybody wants to try to time a top, and they want to make the most amount of money, which obviously that makes sense. But right now, we don't have any clear confirmation yet. So you're right. The MACD hasn't crossed over yet. Okay, so I'm going to delete that line so it's out of our way. And we've got some indecision. We have a bullish candle. But we also have a very large wick right there. Make it big. And if you guys learn, like most of you are using the Trump candles, which is great. I use regular candles because I like to know what the market is actually telling me. So this big wick right here to the downside, and then another one, this is considered vectoring. So it's still vectoring a little bit to the downside, so it could push up some more.
Jenny, can you check EU or GBP?
Yes.
That one, it looks good to me on 1 hour.
My two trades, if I had to pick two this evening, would be the Euro MZD and the. So that looks good. So we have confluence in terms of the 15, the 30, and the 1 hour. So this looks like it would be ready to take on the 15. It's breaking past the 0 line, which is really good. GBP is getting a little stronger. Let me see.
That's good.
Let's see. Wait for the chart to update. There we go. And we have that crossover on the 30. So this would have been a great time to enter, and it's done a nice pullback on the 1 hour. But you know why I don't think I want to take this trade?
Mm-hmm.
It's because
Against the 4 hour?
no, it's against the 4 hour, but first and foremost, sorry, you guys are totally seeing my messy screen
We
here.
got news.
It's got news.
Yeah, we got. Yeah.
So this is it's high news in what, 1 day. But could you still get your pips and get out? Probably. The odds of you being able to get 20 or so pips is probably pretty high. But for me, I'm looking for major red folder news in the next 48 hours. And if there's major red folder news in the next 48 hours on any of the pairs I'm looking at, then my first instinct is to stay away, right? So for me, there's plenty of other opportunities. Why do I want to play with that one? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
What's my thing is?
I'm going to minimize, maybe. Oh, this Zoom is so funny on my Mac. It's not even, it's crazy. Okay. But you guys can see my MT4 as your whole screen. It's not like super small. But so either way, we're looking at Euro GBP. Well, what other pairs are you in?
I was just looking at that one, so.
No, I like it. I mean, the odds of, I like it in general, but if I have to pick a Euro pair, I'm going to pick a Euro pair that doesn't have news.
Yeah, I'm scanning the software, but I don't see anything.
So right now, my favorite is Euro Odd and Euro NZD. Euro Odd is quite ready, at least not according to our system. It's just not quite there. It looks like it's setting up, and it could be. It could drop really hard. But I want to wait, and I want to follow the rules, right? Because that's what we're teaching is how do we follow the rules. So if we're only going to pick two pairs, or what pairs are you guys in right now? What do you guys want to take a look at? Did I kind of scanned through the market before I jumped on?
I'm in a GJ right now.
Oh, you guys know I'm in upside down on GJ.
I'm in GJ too, but
Oh my God.
I just feel like it's gotta cover that hole we talked about, and Japan's been strong for a long time, so I think it's gotta reverse at some point.
Well, so I would love to give the best possible answer, and I really wish I had it. But here's the reality: the Japanese yen is still the strongest currency pair currently. So right now, the Japanese yen is the strongest. Like according to certain, depending on which one of the sites or apps or whatever you're using, the Japanese yen is gaining so much strength. And China has news which kind of affects the Japanese yen. So I don't have any anticipation that it's coming down. Somebody had sent me, don't have it for this one. Hold on, I'll find out. Find out together.
Where's the
I'm in Euro AUD.
Are you in that as a sell?
I'm in there as a buy.
I think it's about done buying.
Hey, Irvin just sent an alert for Audi CAD. Everybody look at it.
Also, Jen, can you explain the big arrow dashboard, how you use it?
On my computer.
Okay, so one thing at a time. I will explain this, but live trade first. Irving, you're saying this as a buy. It had a nice pullback.
Yeah, look, hold on. Yeah, look at the dot. 4 hours. It's gonna go back, as a buy. So it just in 4 hours, 1 hour look good. So that's a perfect entry.
And the reason why in here, see this big, huge engulfing candle? This shows us that the trend is actually reversing. So that's not like that big engulfing candle tells us a story. So at other points in the market, we're just speculating. But when we see this, we know it's going to come back up to 50% of this candle, typically speaking, and then drop. So we had this huge bullish engulfing. It came back to retest. The odds of it still going up is really high. But CAD has a lot of news.
Another thing, let me see if I can draw something on your computer.
I'll hold still.
Another thing that I pay attention. Is if it breaks, you saw those two lines that I create. Usually, that's the pullback in that line, right in the bottom, right where they have the dot.
Yep, the bottom. Okay.
To me, it seems like it's gonna go up, but I don't know. I don't know.
If you guys want to buy this pair, but you can only pick so many from the same currency. I mean, I would definitely recommend this pair. However, you guys have to know that again, CAD has news in one day.
Thank you.
So if we're going to learn how to do this, and I'll tell you guys exactly what I do. So when I go to pick my trades, I don't have a superpower. I think that trade that you just called out is stinking fantastic. I think that the odds of you being able to get a really good, even if it only came to here, that's 50%. You guys see that?
Riley, pray. Amen.
So even if this only pulls back a little bit and you can get out before that CAD news in 24 hours, this would be a reasonable trade to take.
Hey guys.
Hey, how's it going? Who is that? So if we bought it right here, okay, keep in mind it wicked up a little bit, and I have to stop loss below those dots. I usually try to have it at least be 20 pips because I want the market to have room to breathe. On a trade like this, I would use a 20 pip trailing stop, and you guys know I like my weird numbers. And I'd have my take profit up there. That's not a bad trade, but it's not ready yet. It is on the 15th. So that taking that trade is kind of like using Pat's stair-step method. It's you taking it off of this support and resistance dot and then buying it up. But you have to, when you're doing that, you're only going for X amount of pips unless you're going to hold it long term. But this has news in 24 hours, so we can't plan on holding it long term. So does that make sense?
My chart looks so much different than yours, and I'm looking at the same time frame and same pair.
What does your chart look like?
I wish I can show it to you.
Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna go to. We'll go to the Zoom bar that you should have, and see if you can share your screen.
I'm on my phone. That's the difference.
Oh, okay. So I can't help you then. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Next time.
Okay, so I'm guessing it looks different because you probably have the Trump candles. Is that right?
Yes.
And I'm definitely, a lot of people, like, psychologically, that's great for them. For people who are, I mean, probably in their first year of trading, it's probably a really, really good idea. For me, on the other hand, a lot of my decisions are based off of candles like this. And I can't.
Jenny,
Hey, Sylvan.
sorry. Yeah, hi, Jenny. I just wanted to let you know, I mean, I've got Trump candles at the moment. And to be honest, the candles look pretty similar. It's just the actual colors are different. I wish I could send it to you as well, but I don't see much of a difference in the candles.
How does
Even in the Trump, it doesn't. It looks the same, but it's just the colors. You know, they don't vary. The colors don't vary as much, but the actual candle is pretty identical. To be honest, I'm not sure what everybody else has. I'm going to try to see if I can send you. Let me just try to send you
Cool. Send
a
me
screenshot.
Now, keep in mind, guys, this broker has higher spreads. So you'll kind of start more negative than you would with a different broker because it costs more to get into the trade. But they also have no commissions. They don't have to swap fees. So. Yeah. But if I were to pick a pair for tonight and I'm entering a trade, in my live account, I'm in Euro NZD, I'm in USD CHF. I was in GBP NZD for the sell. But here's the point. So you guys wanted to look for a live trade, and I wanted to kind of respond to a couple of things that were mentioned in the chat room today. In terms of like Irving and charging for, helping with the screens, you guys gotta understand that like our inboxes are going crazy. So once you can show that, hey, you can make 6 figures, it really it makes people just blow you up, which is beautiful. And if you have a heart to help people, like you really want to help, but at the same time, you can only do so much, especially on one-on-one. So for him to say, hey, that's what he's going to do, I think it's a beautiful thing. And again, most of the software, even the Zoom meeting that we're using, all of it has a cost, so most of it's not profitable. Having said that, you guys are looking for a live trade. And like Pat was saying, the majority of us who are having a lot of success, it's because we're following very, very, very simple rules. And including myself, so it's definitely not an insult of any kind, most people they can't wrap their head around how easy it is to actually do that. So having said that, I think one of the reasons he wanted me to kind of help a little bit is because I'm really good at showing you what I do. So what I do, and if you want to write this down or if you want to listen to the recording, is literally every Monday, I come up and I pull up my charts. It depends on my children and my schedule, or if I went to them. On Monday afternoon, I literally just drag and drop each pair. And then any pair that's setting up, what I do with that, if it's setting up and it's ready, or it looks like it's getting ready, it's not quite ready, obviously, and we know JPY is a pain right now. I write it down on a piece of paper. I transferred that to, sorry. Oh, I messed up. I gotta get out of the VPS.
Excuse me, Jen. I'm very sorry. Can you mute everybody? I was trying to hear. I couldn't hear something you said.
Let me mute all.
Thank you.
That should work. Unmute all. Okay. I don't know if everybody's unmuting themselves or what. If you guys can mute your lines, that would be super great. Zoom is not muting everybody. Okay, so what I was saying was literally every Monday, I just come to my charts and I drag and drop. And then every time I see something that's setting up, all I do.
Yeah. Hold on.
Guys, can you mute yourself if you're
Yeah,
not?
you said what now?
I called my dad.
All right.
Try again because somebody's calling their dad. Current and new participants will be muted. Continue. Okay, I'll unmute you guys in a little while. So write down your questions if you have them. But what I do is literally I go and I drag the pairs on the chart just like Pat shows you. You've seen it 1,000 times. You probably don't need to see it again. But if everything's setting up, I write down the pair, what all was in alignment, what the price was at the time of my check. I write down if it was a buy or a sell, what my stop loss would have been according to the 4-hour, approximately how much those pips would be, if there's red folder news in the next 48 hours, and any kind of notes, like if there was a harmonic pattern or like a gap, for instance, or JPY, as you know, was closed for 8 to 10 days. So I think that JPY just still needs to recover to find its own flow again. But I take all that down, and then literally 10 days later, I write down because you guys know how I do my stacking. I am veering away from that because I'm using a different tool that manages my trades a little differently. But either way, I stack a couple of times, and I want to know if like entry 1, entry 2, entry 3, and entry 4 would have closed in profit, or if it would have hit my stop loss. So I'd write that down here. So, or if it went against me by negative 20 pips and then went plus 100, I want those notes here so I know how much drawdown I would have had if I had entered 4 or 5 trades. And then of course I count how many pips it was. So if it hit my stop loss, I would say minus 20 or minus 30 pips. If it continued in profit for a total of 100 pips, I'd say plus 100 pips. 1 second here. Let me shut my window because the neighbor dog is like super barking. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. So like I was saying, I would write that down. And what I have now is I have over 4 months of compiled evidence that says this system has, on the worst week, I think I got 70 some odd % accuracy. And then most weeks I'm in the 90th percentile, particularly if I'm avoiding things like news. So some of these trades I wouldn't have taken. I didn't take any JPYs except for GJ, and you guys know why. But I only have GJ in one account all by itself for no other reason. So that's a little bit of a different situation. But if I know that I would have taken 10 of these trades in different accounts, I know that 70, 80% of them are going to take profits. It's just a matter of being able to hold them long enough to do so. So if in one of my accounts, for instance, my CoinEx account, and that's the one that I kind of do most of my pay my bills, survive, that's how I function. So in that account, if I had 4 trades open, I opened up on Monday, or maybe one of them I opened up on Tuesday morning because that's when it's set up. And let's say one of them closes by Wednesday. I don't mind looking for another trade, but in general, I literally only trade 4 pairs at a time. That's it. And that has been successful for me to the point where like Irving can say too that he collects thousands of pips. Thousands, an insane amount of pips, just following the rules. I think he does really good at the scalping, whereas I'm a little better at the long term. But we're using a trailing stop, and the reason why, and a lot of people are gun shy on that because a lot of times you miss the big move, but I'm okay with missing the big move if it means I don't ever lose money. And of course, my 4th position, as you guys know, I'll put either no trailing stop on it at all or no take profit, and depending on the pair and how much it moves. So that's literally all I'm doing. It's not like it's Wednesday night, so I have to go find 4 more trades. trading isn't about constantly going to find 4 more trades. It's about being able to find 4 trades and watch them play out. So you're not allowed to go look for more. And if you kind of are trigger happy, then maybe get a demo account. And I can tell you from experience, I was that really silly, stubborn girl who said I didn't need a demo. So my first almost 2 years of trading, I literally only traded with real money. I blew a ton of accounts. I can't even express how many times. Well, I didn't blow them. I just kind of kept adding money to them, in all fairness. But now if I feel that need to trade, I just trade in a demo account. If I feel that need to test a strategy or test an indicator or test this, I can do that all month long in my demo account. But in terms of actual trading, I'm probably spending 5-6 hours of actual trading to make more than enough money a month to support a family, to pay for a house, and lots of other investments and do good works, all of it. That's literally the amount of time I'm spending on trading. And I just wanted to tell you guys that. And then I'll unmute you when I get to this part. So that was my weekly setup sheet. Of course, you can have a trade journal. This one's blank because I didn't want that info in here. I think Jennifer actually created a much prettier one than this. I gotta move the Zoom stuff out of the way. But this will tell me so what pair it was, right? The time frame that I took that analysis on, buy or sell, the pair. This is for my currency strength. Big arrow, little arrow, money tree strings, buy sell lines, and how many of these things kind of lined up, break and retest of a trend line. I can show you guys that on the chart if you remind me. It's a really simple thing that a lot of Forex geniuses use, because technically the triple arrows is only a signal. So before you ever take a signal, you still want confirmation. And how you get the confirmation is you draw a trend line. And if it breaks that, then you go in that direction. If it doesn't, then it wasn't ready yet. So that's a strategy literally all on its own. Of course, we've got stochastic, MACD, and almost all the indicators. So at the end of it, I know why I took it, how much I won or lost, or what my trailing stop was, so I know how to adjust in the future. So again, I can add this to a group. You guys can customize it based on your own personal preferences and what you guys like to use. But if you're going to be a trader as a career, if you're going to be a professional trader, then it's time to stop treating it like a video game and just constantly looking for another trade. So I hope that wasn't too harsh, but you treat it like a career. You treat it like it's your job, and you understand the steps. And the steps require you to have a trading plan, and the steps require that you have a trade journal, so you know why you took the trade you took. So if you guys want my strengths, these are my strengths, is being able to follow simple rules. And I promise you, if you can pick, even 3 to 6 pairs every week and let them go, in the end of the month, you'll be surprised, oh my gosh, wait a minute, this actually works. So, and you guys know the trading math, I'm going to adjust that so you guys kind of have a bit of more options. But this is that sheet we kind of talked about. I did fix it because there was an algorithm issue. I had messed up on one of them. I messed up on. I don't remember. Maybe, it was weekly growth. They were programmed wrong, so it was coming off of a different column. So I did fix that. I'm going to minimize, and I'm going to maximize this, and then I'll unmute you guys. So we were talking last night on that on the Zoom about what's possible with just literally, you can say 30, 35 trades. And then I want to unmute you guys when I show you this, because I want you guys to truly see what's possible. The first thing I can tell you that is in business, I learned 10 years ago that even if I failed someone else's great results by 90%, I would still be making more than I did in my day job with my degree. And once I realized that, it totally turned me off from corporate America. It turned me off all the way, 1,000%. So if you guys fail what I'm telling you is possible by 90%, you can still literally make 6 figures. If you guys fail what I've accomplished in the Forex industry by 90%, if you get it wrong, 90%, you'll still probably be making more than you make in your day job if you just can follow the instructions and the rules. So Having said that, this is the per trade. I should probably change that, but I'll change it before I send it out. Per trade. And this is with a $100 account balance. You cannot do this with a low leverage account. It is not possible. If you try, you will blow your account. There's 0% chance of you not blowing your account. You'd have to be pretty much 100% accurate, and even then it would be pretty risky. So you definitely need a high leverage account, like 1,000 to 1 for minimum. And you can even cut this in half. You don't have to go 15%. But the point is, at the end of 35 trades, that's per trade. So let's say you found 5 to 10 trades per week. How many trades is that in a month? So 5 times 4 is 20, right? Or 40 trades. Did I say that right? Let's even 5 to 10 per week. Yeah, so 20 to 40 trades per month. And that's doable. And even if you guys, so if today we got $20, but tomorrow we only got 15. And the next day, let's say we lost 13, because that's real life. We got 22, and I can do this all the way down, okay? And just keep going and going and going. If I keep going all the way down, and you guys can play with this, you're going to see that even if you fail this number by 13,000, and let's say you only hit 5,000. So if you fail this by 50%, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but Colorado Springs is a pretty expensive place to live these days. But this is more than most people make in a month. $5,000 is, I mean, even with a degree, that's probably about what you're making, depending on how many years tenure you have. So $5,000 is super, super easy. And that's failing this by a lot. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to read the chat too, just in case. So I'm going to unmute you guys. If you guys are not talking, please remute you guys so you guys can actually hear each other. And I can answer any questions. And then I want to show you another entry strategy after you get the signal. But let's see. Participants, unmute.
Yeah, Jenny, Tim here.
Hey, Tim. How's it going? Long time no talk.
It's all been crazy with this weather, and I had trouble last night, so I didn't get in, but just a little bit of whatever, and then my phone overheated trying to do the Zoom. I could have had to get out. But I wanted to ask why the Swiss yen has gone so sideways here for me today in a buy. I mean, all the indicators were good on the 3 arrows on the 15, the 30, and the hour. And the dashboard was all arrows up for a buy. And I just lost it all. I just don't understand what happened to that Swiss yen.
So if
there was no news. There was no news I saw at all that would impact it.
Well, like Pat says, you're trading an entire country's currency, and I am definitely not an expert. They say that if you study something for an hour a day for 5 years, you'll be an expert in that industry. 5 years or less, right? But I don't know of anybody who can honestly say, I know everything in terms of investing. But what I do know is that Japanese yen, that country, the entire banking system or whatever was
I'm sorry, there's too much noise. I'm trying to
Yeah, I want to
mute your lines. Joshua, can you mute your lines? Just do it. Mute your lines.
fucking sound goes down. You can't hear anything.
Just get it. Fancy. Joshua, mute your line. Joshua. There you go. Sorry, guys. Anyhow, so Japanese yen has just gotten so much stronger that it's still falling.
Good. Oh no, some idiot's not muted.
Oh my gosh.
Joshua, James, I hear you.
I can't hear you, I can't hear Jennifer, Joshua.
See?
Okay, just try to keep your background noise to a minimum, because I like
every day, every time, it's the same thing.
Just get it. I can hear you. Okay, let's see if that worked. Because whoever's talking, like their name pops up on my little Zoom, so I can see who it is. Anyhow, the Japanese yen, it keeps going down. So right now it's at an 8.1 out of whatever on the currency strength meter. It is insanely, insanely strong. And if you want my opinion, which is just a little girl in Colorado's opinion, it's because they literally had all that money that was kind of being held in every country from all the exchanges, and it kind of messed up the system. So right now the Japanese yen is just gaining strength, because all those books now need to be balanced, because every country that had a yen that needed to be exchanged, literally it had nowhere to exchange that for so many days. If you think about it in terms of the big banks, and again, I'm no genius, but I just think it's going to take some time for those books to rebalance. That wasn't a Tim issue. That wasn't like your analysis was wrong or you did a bad job. It's just that the yen is kind of going against you. If we're going to
Okay, well, I'm trying to learn how to build a little count, and it's dropped that 300 count down to 160 now. So anyway, but I hear what you're saying there, but I was clueless as to what happened.
When did you get in?
Well, let's see here. I got in on that one. It was at 7:55. I'm sorry. 7:04. 7:04 here this morning.
So that's what, 6 o'clock my time?
Yep.
How many hours? Well, that's, if it was this morning, you got in like here.
Mm-hmm.
Give or take. Did you have a trailing stop?
I did. I had a trailing stop. I think of 444.
If you had a tighter, did you move your stop loss into profit once you were in profit?
No, because I was away from here.
And everybody has a different style, and I can't tell you how to pick yours. I can just tell you that when I'm in profit by 10 pips, I move my take profit up to break even or above. Like, I never don't do that, because here's the reality. If it resets and comes down, I can get back in. But if it resets and goes negative, then I'm going to lose. So why would I willingly lose when I had the chance to break even? So some trades, like, were you ever in profit on that trade?
You know, it was looking positive to start with, but then, so that's all I know.
Well, again, I can't say exactly what time you entered MT4, but assumably you would have had some amount of pips in profit. And that's, again, this is all speculation, because it's, what time is it now? So 7 to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So give or take one of these two candles, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means it definitely at least went in your direction by some amount, because one of these two candles. But that doesn't mean like you were wrong or like you did a bad job. This one didn't have the buy-sell lines. That might have been a good, if you had waited for that, that's something you can improve. Because all we're doing, you guys, is we're taking this big amount of information, we're analyzing the information, and we're collecting data. And when we have enough data that says, hey, this is going in this direction, we are investing into that. That's all we're doing. So if you did your due diligence, and when you lose, it's going to happen. There's no multiple 6- and 7-figure trader that does not lose. It's definitely not bad to lose, but it's important to take why you lost and say, okay, so what could I have done better next time? So next time I don't lose again, or you at least have a slightly better chance of not losing again. And that's how I got to the system I now have got to. That's how I ended up with Pat. Again, I'm super believe in his vision and kind of the mission statement of the company, but also it matches everything that I've learned, and I've created a system that can work. It doesn't mean it's the only way. It just means that the way I do it with moving the stop loss into break even or above break even means that if it resets, I don't lose money. So I rarely lose on big trades, because if it resets, I lost nothing. I gained something. And if it goes without me because I was busy or I was at the gym, I was on the phone, then I don't have to worry about it, because there's always going to be another move.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, Jenny. I guess the only thing I could have done maybe is taken smaller lots or some mini lots. But all the indications that I had was it was a go. for a buy, and I was just kind of here I'm wanting to get started on live trading, and when I my $300 demo account, which I set up deliberately for this, is get wiped out for that. You know, I'm just not understanding.
Okay, so if it was a demo though, that's good. So how big was your lot on a $300 account?
Okay, I think I was using like 0.05.
And did you stack that?
Yep.
How many times?
3 times, I believe.
So you risked 50% of your account on one pair?
Well, yeah, I guess I did.
So maybe that's something you could learn from?
Okay.
Okay, because I'm no fortune teller. Pat is not a fortune teller. All we can do is take the information you guys are giving us and see, okay, how can we help you adjust, grow, get better? So from what you're telling me, if you had risked 5 to 10%, Pat suggests 10. I'm working toward 10. I'm working on being a little more ballsy. I still kind of like sticking closer to 5 and 7, and now I'm up to 8. But either way, 10% should be the absolute max that you are risking. So that means if you stacked those trades 3 times. And Jennifer in the group, she gave the group a super easy app. It's amazingly user-friendly. It's not difficult to learn or understand. And you can type in the pair and then decide, how much, or kind of drag and drop to see where your stop loss would be, right?
Right.
So let's say it was 20 pips or whatever. You type in 20 pips, you type in CHFJPY, it'll tell you, okay, so you can do a 0.1 or whatever the case is based off of your account. And it's reasonably accurate because, again, there's a lot of variables that even that app cannot dictate, such as your leverage. But at the end of the day, it'll give you a good enough base point. So if it tells you, for example, 0.1, you would split that 0.1 up into 3 trades. So you would do, 3.3s, for example, or maybe one of them you did a 0.05, and then the other one you did a 0.03. So your heaviest one kind of closed first. And if you had done it that way, again, I can't say exactly where you got in or what broker are you using.
This is on a CoinExbit. I think I did a 0.05, 0.04, and 0.03. I think that's what I did.
So if you had like a really small take profit on that 0.05, you technically would have closed at enough to where that even if you didn't move the stop loss up on the other 2, with these losses and this one gain, you would have broken even, give or take.
Yep. Right. Well, that's what I was trying to work off of, starting with a bigger one and then going to a smaller one. Anyway.
But look at so this was actually given to me by Andre in the group. So he gets total credit for it. He's a rock star. He's constantly in the Facebook group. Like, he just gets trading. He doesn't overcomplicate it mentally. He doesn't say a lot in the group so much because he's kind of just busy keeping his head down, getting to work. But he's a rock star. So this indicator right here that tells you what the average daily range is came from him. There's a lot of versions, as you know. Like anything else, I like how simple and clean this one is. But on CHFJPY, which is a pair I reference often because it's one of the cheapest pairs to trade, it also moves one of the slowest.
Okay.
If you were trying to go for like 100 pips on this pair, it's not that you couldn't get it, because watch, if we go to the 4 hour, like, you could totally get it. Oh, here, I'll close this.
Yeah.
But it's going to take you a long time.
Well, I guess I could have maybe looked and thought about this more this morning. Pat had said that there was now and later yen pairs all over the place, and I just went through looking at yen pairs and having very little time. That's what I came up with.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Guys, when we post in the group, hey, take a look at GJ or take a look at this, first off, that is not a signal.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I understand.
Secondly, like, it's really easy to get trigger happy. And I think that's the message I wanted to get across, is because everyone's looking for another trade to get in. It's almost like a drug addict. Like, it's a fiend, like they're fiending. But the reality,
right. That's how I'll be feeling.
2 or 3 trades, like, if you want to get a few trades, like, get a hobby, get a girlfriend, okay? Like, go on a date, go volunteer. I promise, if you do that for a month, I don't care if there's NFP, I don't care if there's Brexit, I don't care if Japan closes for a week, you will still be profitable at the end of that month. Even with all the economic factors that are out of our control, you will be profitable at the end of the month, but you are never going to be profitable if you are consistently trigger happy, looking for your next fix. And I can see the so many people doing that. So, and I'm just me. I'm not an expert. I mean, that's all I can be is just me. So that's my
Okay. Okay. Well,
Jenny, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
thank you.
You're welcome, Tim.
This is Garland.
Hey, Garland, how's it going?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Fantastic.
All right. So, I totally get the procedure and the process, and I try to stick to it. But I feel like I fell behind as far as like indicators that have been released, and like my charts and like I have that magenta and green moving average line. It seems like when Pat does his videos in the morning, he doesn't have that anymore. And he had a seabird on his triple arrow system. And I'm like, that's for the Uncle Pappy system. How does the seabird get there? And it just feels like I missed something.
Okay, well, you did, and that's okay. Again, as this group grows, one of my colleagues, our colleagues, I should say, was messaging me today. We are at so many different levels. Like some people in there are super experienced. They've been trading stocks for 10 years. They're playing with 50,000, in their play account, and they're at a totally different level. Whereas some people are like, I don't know how to put a file on this, and they're totally freaking out, right?
Right.
So with that many people and that many different questions, my understanding, and Pat can confirm this in the morning, so please do jump on, is that he's updating the website. He's got a team of people working on 100 things, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here, trying to help answer questions and just tell you what we're doing. His idea and his big vision is to create one template, hopefully that you can download. The problem with creating a template and dragging it from the website is, as you know, some of these indicators come from the marketplace. So unless you got the indicators from the marketplace, the template still wouldn't come up properly. So there's a lot of integrated steps in that. But at the end of the day, here's the truth. Here, I'll even pull this up. You can create a template for what you see. So as for Jenny, she likes money tree string. Okay. I just like it. It's clean. But maybe Irving, he likes the crossover of the 9 and 18. And maybe his eyes just see it clearer and it doesn't have any question for him. So at the end of the day, Uncle Pat has created a system that is customizable but consistent. So if you don't like this MACD, so be it. Okay? You don't have to like it. It doesn't have to be your best friend. You could maybe do something like this. Okay? If you don't like the MACD, and maybe you really, really, really like the profit filter, for example, then use this. If you don't like that, use the auto trend forecaster. I still love his settings for stochastic for different reasons, because it kind of gives me a different level. But I still love the stochastic. But at the end of the day, we're just taking all these things and saying, okay, how much of it is noise and how much do we need? And some of it is so much noise on the chart that it's taking away the big picture. Does that make sense?
It does.
So he put out a video today, and he kind of showed the. We were on the phone this morning. He kind of went over how to do the video to make sure that people knew how to get the stuff from Marketplace. They knew how to create a free MQL5 account. They knew how to do this to where it would be a safe and positive thing for everybody. So there is a video that shows you what his current setup is, and it's something similar to the Stairmaster, because this is all the same strategy. It's nothing's really changed. We did speed up the Seabird, if I can get to it. But even if we took the Seabird off, sorry, everything's really weird on this. I don't usually do Zoom on my Mac because it's all weird.
Yep.
But we made the Seabird 21 and not 35.
Okay, so to get to catch up to speed, which in the archive section, what video do you recommend? The new Stairmaster setup? Is that?
I would hope that there's somebody in the group who could answer that question. And we have an amazing group. You guys, I've been in hundreds of groups, and I've never had a group like this where people are just helpful and kind and they step up. So which video it is, I would just go to files and I would look up the most recent video.
Yep.
Odds are that's what I would do.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Or it's probably in the signals group too.
Okay.
Ready, man? Let me find my purse.
I hope you find your
So
purse.
that's all I had to ask. I'll catch up to speed, and I'll take a day off and go through all the videos and set myself up.
Okay, so right now, as of today is what? I know this answer. The 8th. So as of May 8th, it's posted in the signals group. So that signals group is way less noise. It's got the video. It's got the links to each indicator in there also. And it's super easy to find. There's not a bunch of noise in there. So you're good. Just go there. And then you'll get it.
My purse.
And right now I'm currently in Euro Aussie dollar. So it's doing okay. I'm in a buy.
I'm looking to sell this pair.
Really?
But it's not ready yet. But you got to think, I just got into. I only pick so many pairs. So how long have you been buying?
I bought it about 20 minutes ago.
What confirmations did you use to buy it 20 minutes ago?
I used the stochastic. I used the helpline, and I used the confirmation mountain.
Purse
on the what time frame?
I'm trying to find my purse.
It's good on a 30-minute.
Yeah, I bought it off the 30.
I'm guessing this wasn't there yet, right? Or was it?
Let me see. Next time I'll be sure to do the meeting from my actual.
That's okay. If you guys have a
laptop.
screen you want to share, I mean, that's how we learn. Is we collaborate and we talk. And no one, including me, no 7-figure trader, no 8-figure trader, no one's going to be right all the time. It's just not possible.
Right.
So in terms of buying it, like, you definitely did good. I don't know if that was a good entry, because think about it. A lot of that move has been made.
It has. Yeah, I'm up about 8 pips. So.
It is.
Just to drop some knowledge, the average daily range is only 84.
Someone's talking beside you.
Whoever's 9, I can read out your phone number. It's 914 area code. Like, they're typing. Somebody's on there making noise. Tika? Let's see. Or eating chips or something.
I don't know what they're doing.
Okay, but this right here, I mean, it looks like it was a good buy. I don't know if this was a good entry, but this bullish candle says it still has a lot of room to go up, and these wicks are in your favor. And I'm guessing this doji wasn't appearing yet when you got in, right? But here's the thing. As of right now, it's, sorry. Hey, whoever's like queuing or typing or shipping or something, make sure your phones are muted until you want to talk. But look how much it's really close to the high of the day. It's, 40 pips away from the low of the day. It's definitely exhausted its average daily range. So the idea of it coming back is pretty high. And of course, we're overbought on the stochastic.
Right.
So if you're up 8 pips, that's beautiful. Move your stop into profit. And then guess what? It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong.
True. Doing that right now.
I mean, you don't have to follow my way. There's no one way to.
So it makes sense.
But I move my stop into profit, because if I don't, the way I see it is I'm an idiot. Okay? That makes me super, super dumb. Because why would the stop loss is there in case you were wrong. right? So why am I going to be right and then wait for it to go wrong to decide to take my loss? If I was right and I'm going to keep that right, I mean, I'd rather get out with a couple pips than get out losing pips ever. Like that is the most simple thing you can do. And if you apply that one thing out of tonight and we apply one more next week, within a couple of months, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I made 6 figures, or oh my gosh, I turned a few $100s into a few thousand and I'm on top of the world. It's totally possible, but only if you can like start to get disciplined.
Understood.
Okay, so I told you guys that there was one other thing I was gonna show you. So our triple arrows told us right here, I'm gonna go to the other setup because it's prettier. Our triple arrows told us that this was selling, right? I don't have the small arrow right there for some ungodly reason, but that's okay. So let's go to this one. Right here, it's kind of consolidating. We don't know, because imagine we can't see any of this. So we're scared. We don't know if we should keep our entry open. We're so afraid. And that's kind of how we're trading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something. So you guys have been in signal groups, right? You guys have had like swipe trades or pad signals or something. Either way, let's pretend that we got a signal, okay? Somewhere in and around here because of our triple arrows came up, okay? A rule of thumb, and this is another one of those things that if you apply just this thing, I promise you, you will literally be in a totally different place in a few weeks. So we got a signal from our triple arrow saying that this was a buy. But we're not sure because we don't know what the countries are doing. We don't know about news. There's all these unknowns and we're scared out of our mind. So what I'm going to do is when you get a signal, you go 2 time frames below or you go to the 15-minute. I'm just going to go to the 15-minute because it's what I do. I would go, if I ever check the 15-minute, this is the only reason why. So let me pull over. Give it a minute because Mac.
Hit your green arrow.
Yeah, it's not letting me.
Hit your green arrow.
My green arrow?
At the top, next to the shift. Over the next one over.
There we go. Oh. Well, it's not letting me. So let me pick it.
It should be. Let me see. Where is the
I think it's all the way back.
Yeah, I think it's too far back.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to the 30-minute, which isn't my preference, but it'll still it'll give you the same picture.
Yeah.
This up until this moment was literally in a downtrend, right? You can't see it on this time frame again because this was just a choppy pair. So I guess we're gonna go to the 1 hour. One of the strategies is if you get a harmonic pattern or you get a signal, and yes, our triple arrows are signal lines, in case you didn't know that. And I'm much better at this on TradingView because this is just silly, but you draw a trend line, okay? When price breaks the trend line, then you buy. So you have your signal, go a few times frames smaller, price breaks that trend line, then you buy it. And I promise you, anywhere you do this at, it works.
Yeah.
So let's pick a different pair. Let's pick odd JPY. Well, let's pick a GBP pair because they move really nice.
Do NZD.
GBP NZD? Okay. You got it.
Got it.
This is not mine. I forget the first person. I think it was Dr. Spiller was the first person who told me this. I could be wrong, so I don't take credit for this. I know that IML teaches this. The harmonic scanner teaches this. Another private company that charges 10, 20 grand for their training. They literally make you pay 10 to 20 grand for some classes that teach you pretty much the basics. And then they tell you this, literally. That's all they tell you. So if you get a signal, I don't care where the signal came from. If it came from a telegram that you should not be in, if it came from harmonics, if it came from the triple arrows, when you get a signal, this is ugly. Who told me to do this one? How rude.
You know it.
I'm joking. But so we get a signal, right? This was going down, and we get the signal to buy. It's kind of ugly because I have it super zoomed out. But let's go off of ugly because the market isn't always pretty. All we're doing is, when my chart listens to me, draw a trend line. In order to draw an accurate trend line, you need 2 touches. And probably trading view because the system is super temperamental. Oopsie. There we go. We'll say that's the trend line. And that's actually a really perfect example, so thank you. You have a touch, and a touch, right? It broke the trend line, and it even came back to retest the trend line, and then it went. So if you're looking for that one more piece of confirmation to say, should I take this trade? Is it honestly ready, or was it just a pullback? That is like one of the biggest pieces of advice, literally $10,000 to $20,000 information, and that's all it is that right there. Seriously. If you do that before you take any of these entries, and that goes on any time frame, obviously it works better using a bigger time frame because then you can click down to the 15-minute chart. Literally, that's it. And you can do that everywhere. So if we're looking, well, I was selling this. I'm still selling this. It's in a pullback now, but I was in profit because I sold it way high. But you do the same thing. So once it breaks the trend line, then you buy it. That's it. Do you think that will help you in your trading?
Yes, absolutely.
These are all we're doing, guys, is compiling evidence. Is taking all this evidence and saying, okay, can we create a case that this is buying? And if you think of it in that terminology, like, you'll be unusually successful. Let's see. Same thing happened here. So if I drew a trend line, which, as you know, that trend line is a pain in the butt to use, and you're not sure if it's just a little pullback and going to continue, draw a trend line. And if it breaks the trend line and then continues up, retests and goes up, now we're in an actual trend reversal. And if not, it was just a pullback. And then you saved yourself a problem. Does that make sense?
Is that how you would go off of it from a top-down analysis also? Or like what time frame would you wait for the big or for the main arrow?
I like I, as well as Pat and a couple of people who I know who are no longer $100 traders, most of us are using the 1 hour and the 4 hour. So I would love to be the girl who sits up here and tells you scalping is possible. We can do this. But honestly, I have had so little luck scalping. And the only luck I've had scalping is going for like a couple pips. Like, like if I'm cashing out at 3 pips, that's easy to do. But that's a lot of time for 3 pips. So this is based off of the 1 4 hour. So if the 4 hour is telling you, hey, this is a buy. Okay. Again, we're kind of a little iffy on those yens. It's just what is. I have my opinion. It may or may not be accurate. Lord knows that's the case. Ugh. Let's see. Let's go to the edge. It broke this previous resistance though. So if I take it to a naked chart, watch this. It broke the resistance. So if this was our previous support and resistance, give or take, it broke it. So it is definitely not ready to go up, guys. And if it is, it's only for a pullback. Because price is still only going to go from zone to zone. That's not pretty. Not pretty at all. So we shall see. But the trend line is you do it on the 1 hour and the 4 hour. You could click down to the 30-minute or the 15-minute for the 15 minutes is faster, obviously. As you guys know, everything's faster on the 15-minute. But the problem with the 15-minute, and I think the reason why some people are losing at now and later trades, is because on the 15-minute, especially on a pair that doesn't move very much, right? Something like this. This could just be like a really tiny pullback. So this is in an upswing. Maybe you didn't see it until here. You were right, but you didn't have a take profit set, or you didn't have a trailing stop set, and then it went against you. And you're like, oh my gosh, it doesn't work. So the 15-minute could fake you out and show you that it's reversing, even though it's not quite reversing. So if you found the trade on the 4 hour, I would go 2 time frames below that and say the 30 minute. If you're going off of the 1 hour, go 2 time frames below and say the 15. And just draw a trend line. So treat this as if it's a signal. You've got 3 arrows that popped up. You can't really see my 3rd arrow right there, but it is there. In there, kind of blended in. Maybe I should change the color. But treat it like a signal, and once it breaks the trend line, then you can start to sell. Because that's what you're looking for. Across the board. And try it out, because you guys, this is a counter trend strategy. And when you understand that, this is either a counter trend strategy or a reversal strategy, right? So that means you're not looking for trend continuation, you're looking for a reversal of something, right? So you have to have confirmation. And if you guys don't understand candlestick patterns yet, one of the best ways to get confirmation is for the break of the trend. Because if it breaks this trend line, then it's going to go down for at least enough pips to matter. If it doesn't break, so if it just comes back and retests, then you know what you're going for. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's something I do. But that's it. Does anybody have any questions or comments or concerns?
Hey, Jenny, did anyone in here trade over the phone?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Does anyone in this group like to trade over the phone? Because I have a magic secret with using the RSI. The thing is that I haven't have a chance to make a video, but it's very accurate. Sometimes it match a lot with the triple arrow. So it's.
Can you show me your screen?
I don't know how. No. Well, I have to connect. Well, I'm gonna make a video. Maybe next time I can prepare more, and we can. I can do some demo so you guys can learn.
So I can. Okay, cool. I can make you the host, or allow you to share your screen. But so you're using the RSI set at 14, or?
No, it's basically I have to show everyone, because if I explain, they're not gonna understand, and I'm gonna confuse them. It's better off for them to see exactly how I enter and when I get off.
Yes.
And it's very accurate. I make a lot of pips when I'm at work. So
that's awesome.
And that's one.
Yeah, that'll be good.
That's one thing. I have another also. You know, all this IT support that I do, I help a lot more than what the system requires.
Oh, I know. I've heard so much about you.
I also teach a lot of people how to carry the triple arrow on their phone. It doesn't matter where you go. You could be at the beach tomorrow and you're going to have your triple arrow in your hands.
Are you setting it up with a remote drive or what?
Yeah, real time and everything. Yeah. So for instance, like, you know, anyone can post any screenshot of the whatever trade they're doing. You can just pop up and look, you know, if it match. And I mean, it's all about working smart, not hard. But I mean, it's pretty neat.
That's awesome. Well, honestly, like I have a system that kind of works off my phone too. I hardly ever use it, but it lines up perfectly with the triple arrows too. It's based off of the SARS and the Bollinger bands. And I think that would be great if we collaborate and kind of show them what's possible on the phone. In terms of getting the triple arrows on the phone, are you just setting up a remote drive, or? So are you giving them like a remote desktop on their phone? Irving, are you there? Are you still there? Irving?
Was that Irving talking?
Yeah, that was.
Okay.
So
he's muted.
Irving, you muted yourself. Well, either way, if he's setting people up on a remote drive, you guys have no idea how what a pain in that butt is. I'm on a VPS right now. I've got remote drives on like 5 different computers and 9 laptops and 3 cell phones. So I get it. That tech stuff it's very time consuming. Like, and it takes a lot. It takes somebody who has a knack for it. That's for sure.
I have one on my phone as well. I can actually leave my desktop open and I can look at my desktop from my cell phone. So
nice. I finally bought a VPS because it was worth it for me to quit burning through. And I have all these Windows computers. I mean, I've bought them so many times. It's not even a little bit funny. And seriously, my older Apples are still working better than my newer Windows.
Oh wow!
Hey Jenny, if you have a Surface Pro Go, you can use it like a computer that has a Microsoft Windows 10. MT4 pulls up on that. It's pretty small, 10-inch screen.
Really?
It has the charts on it. I have that. It's my travel. I use it at work to look at the real charts instead of my phone.
What is it? A Microsoft Go Pro?
Microsoft, yeah, Surface Pro, but the Go version.
But it still has the actual Microsoft 10 on there. What about viruses? Is it bad like Windows is or no?
I don't have any viruses on mine, but I have malware bites and everything.
Yeah, all that stuff you have to have. Us Apple lovers, because I'm an Apple lover, like we don't ever do that.
That's me. Sorry, Jay.
I'm telling you, like my Apples, the one I'm on right now, I've got 2 Apples that are older, and I love my. Well, I kind of use my Windows more, but they lag and suck, and they always have a problem, and yeah, no fun.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, this is James. Hey, did you like we chatted earlier on about the indicator I sent to you? Did you like the risk indicator?
Okay, so don't I'm pulling it up right now. What's your name on Telegram?
Say again.
What's your name on Telegram? Trader James FX?
Yeah.
No, that's not you.
No. YJ Trader.
Okay, oh, there we go. YJ Trader. I love it. It's just a lot of noise on the chart.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is.
So I'll show you guys something on this. It was actually, I want to show you guys something. I'll have to talk to Pat. You guys, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of indicators. But here's the reality. Like, I even named this clutter because I was going to show you this. Like, and most of them, they stink and work. The problem is people are over trading their, close out in pips or protect their pips. It's all the same thing. This is a currency indicator. It tells you what the currencies are doing. As you guys can see, the Japanese yen is still just going up. It was only in a pullback. And an Australian dollar, which we all want to buy, it's still going down. But all this stuff works. This is similar to what I have set up on my, I don't think I have that on this version. I don't. The point is every one of these indicators tells the same thing over and over and over again. So we can have that risk calculator is great, but it takes a lot of work. And people have to learn how to see the candles. Like I'd have to see it in action. There's even there's a free EA, an expert advisor. There's a free tool that shows you, you type in how much you want to risk of your either equity or your balance, which is nice. You can pick either or. So there's a ton of those options. But people have to understand first. So how much do you want on your chart?
Right.
Do you want that on your chart? Because it's big. Like I love it. For me, I would use it. But for like the group, they have to be able to see and take off some of this noise.
Right.
And like one of the gentlemen that was stepped up and was talking about, like they're constantly talking about it, and everything keeps changing. But people have to find a set of stability that they can understand. So when they back test and then they're looking at indicators, they're not getting bombarded. Because we can do that all day long. Like we can drop some massive indicators, and most of them are pretty good. Some of them are lagging. Some of them are, they tell a different story. But across the board, most things line up somewhere in this range.
Right.
So, yeah, I love that indicator. It's if you want to, you can share it or even post a picture in the group. I mean, I probably would only send it to people who like message you and request it, because out of 300 people, I realize that like half of them, they don't even know how to put something on their chart yet.
Right.
And I don't know, like 100 of them or so have never done anything to do with Forex
Right.
at all.
Yeah, I was noticing a lot of people was like, I don't know how much money to put down or what my lot size should be, and I was like, well, if you had this indicator here, it would show you what your risk would be and what your lot size should be to keep you out of trouble. So, you know,
That, well, yeah, definitely. And I think that's something that maybe talk to Pat and see if we want to add that. We're creating the template, which will have a list of all the indicators that are either in the marketplace or indicators that you are custom and they have to be downloaded from us.
Right.
I think that would be a great one to put in there. But again, people have to understand what risk even means.
Right.
Because when they're thinking risk, like they don't understand they're risking a margin, a leveraged amount of money.
Right.
They're not risking what they think they're risking.
Right.
So it's so much of a bigger picture than that. I mean, I want to talk about some more advanced things, some deeper things. But there's so many people who, like, they don't know that this is an engulfing candle.
Right.
As silly as that sounds, that's their level of training. So how much good can I be if I super, just in my industry, we call it vomiting on somebody, right? That you literally just vomit all this information and they can't process it. They can't digest it.
Right. I was talking to Pat about, it's like, you do have a lot of guys who are new to trading and they're not understanding the process. And a lot of information is coming across the screen and they're hopping on every little thing instead of just getting the basics down first.
Exactly. And that's where we're posting signals. We're saying, hey, take a look at this, which is great because we're collaborating. And I'm so big on that. And it's fun and we learn so much. But people are trade hungry. So there was a group discussion today of, well, if she's not taking a trade, I don't want to jump in. You probably should go to bed then, because it's the reality. And that's not about even being mean. It's, I don't always trade on Wednesday night. Like typically, unless some of my trades got knocked out in profit or a stop loss, most of my trades are done on Monday and Tuesday, and then I hold them until whenever they close.
Right.
I will move my stop loss into profit. I have a kind of various different styles of trailing stops. I shared one of the ways I trade with you guys. There are other ways I trade. That one's just a really safe and simple strategy that, like 99% of the time, I think I've only lost, I don't know what the percentage is in that account, but keep in mind I do move my stop loss into profit. But in that account, okay, I've only lost like 12 or 13 trades in 4.5, 5 months.
Oh, wow.
And that's really good. So, but that's just a different kind of trading. Like, and nobody understands that. They're jumping into, oh my gosh, CJ looks good. Oh my gosh. And they go and they get in and they had enough confirmation and the odds are it went in their favor. Like, so take this one right here. They jumped in. The odds are it did go in their favor, but like they didn't have the right take profit. It just barely missed it. And now they hit their stop loss. They're like, oh my gosh, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, I mean, we did take a live trade tonight. I don't know how it'll go. That's just my favorite pair for the evening. I'll check it on my other computer. I like Odd Cat, except for the fact that Cat's got news.
It's funny. So I have an indicator for that too.
Oh yeah, I've got a couple for that. How big is yours?
It's big. It takes up it takes up a lot of the landscape on the computer, but it draws lines and boxes at certain times that news is released. So if you are in a trade and it's coming up to that time, it's a line that's drawn on your chart to tell you, hey, listen, at this time of the day, news is coming out.
Oh, you should totally drop that to me.
Okay.
Totally.
Okay, I'll shoot it up to you.
Or like even if you who happen to be on, they have the blessing of being on, they can private message you. And I know that's a lot. Your inbox is going to be blown up just like mine. But for right now, and it's not my place to say, as you know, I'm only helping out.
Right.
But we have to be mindful of the hundreds of new people who like they don't know that odd is in front. So odd is the base currency. Like they don't understand that you're either buying odd or selling odd.
Right.
Like, there's so much they don't know that it's a lot.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
When you're trading news, are you only trading high impact news, or are you looking at the whole entire gamut?
I have a news bot between the people who are on right now. And it does this. Have you heard of the straddle strategy?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of straddles, and it does pretty well. I don't usually play with it too much. I've been around long enough to see all these amazing EAs, and I'm the ones that are promising. I've got this bot that's worth an insane amount of money. It'll stack. So like, if I put an entry here, it'll keep stacking another entry until it hits my take profit.
Wow.
And in theory, it's great because I can stack it at the same lot size. So like, let's say I did a standard, all these standards, or it can increase the lot size by an exponential amount. So this one started as a 0.01. This one could end as like 10 standards because it's designed to use the entirety of your margin. If you can follow that, like it's killer. It's a killer bot, that's for sure, but it's a killer bot is the problem. So for instance, using it on something and the one time the blessing is if it goes against you, it doesn't take any more energy. But if it misses your take profit, okay, you are SOL. Like it's really, 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 really bad because basically within a half a pip of being wrong, you just blew it.
Right.
We've been able to take that bot. There's quite a few people on a couple different teams I've worked with that were successfully able to take, and this is going to sound insane, I've got videos to prove it, but to take so $250 and turn it into over $250,000.
That's crazy.
And I'm not even going to tell you in how many hours it took. Please know I did not say days.
That's crazy.
Hours. So I can afford to put $100 in the account 10 times and be wrong 10 times. And then be right on that 11th. I can afford that kind of risk. But a lot of people can't. A lot of people can't stomach it, afford it. They don't have the emotional tolerance to do something like that.
Right.
So of all the things I've seen and all the cool bots and news strategies, I usually at this point, I stay away from news. I even have rules in place. I got really good at just sticking to my rules. So if there's NFP week, I never trade the US dollar or gold. I don't care if I would have become a multi-billionaire that week. Those are my rules. And I no longer play with news. And if I do play with any news, it's usually the CAD because CAD is pretty predictable.
Right.
And so you can do the straddle on the CAD. If I was going to give you any advice, is do the straddle on the CAD. And that happens gets once a month. It lines up perfectly. It goes exactly where it's supposed to go, and your risk isn't huge. But on most other things like interest rate decisions and NFP and God forbid Trump spoke again, it's just not worth the risk.
Man, listen.
Why would I risk like all that when I could like easily? I don't have to risk much to make a lot of money.
Right.
This system is what I use. I've got a few other tools, but this is my mainstay. And I cannot express that in any other way. I quit trading from my phone. I quit being on my phone all the time except for to text message and to play around with Telegram. So I don't even trade from my phone anymore. And I have a really good strategy for the phone too. But why would I play with it when I have this? That's just me though. This is it. This is when you learn enough and you play with enough indicators, you're like, oh my gosh, this lines up, this lines up, this lines up. It all does the same thing. And for me, the system just, it works. Yes, sir. All right, guys, is there any other questions, comments, all that good stuff, anything at all?
Can you just go through odd CAD again, Jenny?
Yeah.
This is kind of pushing through on the downside.
Yeah, this is the one that Irving called out. And she I'm sure makes it easier to say, hey, somebody else gave this suggestion. But the reality is there's no way to know. And the reason why I wouldn't be super, super in love with this trade was because of news. But this has in 24 hours. So now bear in mind, this is probably only 10 pips because this broker has much higher spread. Did anybody else enter this trade?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So depending on where you want your stop loss, 33 pips isn't bad, and even here. If it breaks this, the trade is no longer valid. So if it breaks those buy-sell lines, the truth is this trade is no longer valid. Like I would, let me see, let me click it on my other computer, other screen, hold on. The odd is just really, really weak. So the CAD isn't like, hold on, it's loading, it's just taking a minute. The CAD isn't exceptionally strong. But again, you're paying attention to the first currency of importance more than anything else. So the odd is still going down in terms of currency strength.
Yeah.
Where's the CAD? Strange, it's not on there. Let me check this. Odd is that? Like that's really, really bad. It's just not good at all. Even if the CAD is getting weaker, which is good, but yeah, that's all I've got right now. So on the 4 hour, this is crossing over to still be pointing down. Let's go to the 1 hour. This bullish engulfing candle, like that's a momentum candle. This is the kind of thing that tells you the market is going to turn around. It doesn't mean it's not going to come back and form a double bottom. And then we're definitely at the overbought, oversold territory. Let's check out this. So we're at the overbought, oversold, but it can stay there for a while. The odds that it's going to keep going down, I don't know. It can come wick here or here. I would definitely move your stop, especially if you're in a live. I'd move it like right there. To 93667, which gives it room in terms of this area. So and here's the reality: if it breaks this, the trade is no longer valid. You wait for it to reset. But we have this downward on the 30-minute too. Probably just looking for one more push.
Hitting round number 2.
9-4. Do you subscribe to that train of thought that says quarters theories? Do you know what those are?
Is that round numbers as well? Is it similar to round numbers?
Yeah. So
levels. Yeah.
So the quarters theory is basically any whole number has a lot of value, and that's a whole number. So it's passing a whole number right now.
Yeah, I've actually got a grid line from an older group I was in that I also use on the chart. It kind of has lines on all those numbers.
So 94, that's a whole number. That would be considered, that's like a really important level according to quarters theory, right?
Yeah.
So let's see what it does. On the 1 hour, it's still facing down on the stochastic, and we're definitely going down. But the good news is we're overbought enough to actually matter. And again, you can stay overbought for a super long time. There's no hard rule of thumb that says you can't. And JPY is a super great example of that. Let's see. But it looks like it already did its little pull, and it could continue. What do you see when you look at this?
I'm seeing push down south. Momentum.
Good news is it's got some wicks to the bottom. I like that. And all we can talk about is what we see. So we bought based off of Irving had called this out, which is a great idea. And honestly, I'm super grateful for him because being on a live call, everyone, that's all they want is a signal. Again, that's like not the purpose of a trade room. But I used to be that person when I first started trading. Is I only showed up to the trade room because I wanted the trade. And I was super frustrated when I didn't get a trade, but I've grown up since then, thankfully. But we took it because of this momentum candle, and it came back, retested. Another theory of, school of thought is that when you have a big breakout candle like this, it's going to retest about 50% of that and then continue. If you go back in history, there's a lot of truth to that. Any big breakout bodied candles, so we're looking for the bodies only. So, it hits a massive resistance. And whether this hits our stop loss or not, we won't know. For me, I'll be in bed, so. But there's a lot of indicators that say this has still got a lot of potential because we're really at the low of the day. Granted, this is the Asian session, so that's only worth so much. It's definitely farther from the high of the day. And then, of course, it doesn't typically move that much. So since the average daily range is, even if we go with the highest number, only 50 pips, it's already moved 50 pips. Typically not going to quadruple its move in one day. It's that in one day without like some major news, right?
Yeah.
So the odds turn around has a lot of good potential. There's no promises. We need it to break this 0 line, and we need it to continue up. But we can draw a trend line even on this. And a touch, and a touch, touch, and a touch, and rejection. Let's see what it does here if it turns around. And if it doesn't turn around, then we know it's going to come down. And that means we know it's going to come down to here at least. But this is part of trading. And this isn't something that we freak out about. So when I pick my trades and I stack them 2 to 4 times depending on what I'm doing and what account it is. We don't have any control over that. You're already in it. So once you're in profit, you can move your stop loss into profit. But for now, if you want to test how well the system works, you have to let it run.
Yep.
And this isn't a super high risk. Like even on a standard, so at 44, it's only $300. Most of us spend more than that going out to eat, in 2 months. Most of us spend more than that on just dumb stuff all the time. All the time. Well, how many standards is this? Yeah, it's 1 standard. 1. It just depends on how you look at things. But we'll see how this plays out. This one was not. Here, we'll go to mine. Let's pick on me a little bit. Pretty sure this one's upside down too. $15 pips. So there we go. It's still bouncing off. I don't need this anymore. Delete. Okay. I'm getting messages. I'm checking my messages on.
What was your stop loss, Jenny, on that Euro New Zealand?
The safest stop loss, let's see, is for this line. I am in this trade in my live account. My real stop loss is up here. But you have to look for that. You see how big that wick is, though?
Yeah, it's huge.
That's a big, big wick.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I went to half of that, that wick is just really big, but we have to understand that was news that did that.
Yeah.
So knowing it was news, we're still in it's kind of snowing out. You can do a couple different things. You can draw a breakout box, or you can wait for it to break. Let's see. When it breaks this, that is the perfect entry. That's when confirmed entry. Okay. Let's see. And when I decided to enter this, that's, you know, kind of where it was at. But there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
Hopefully it came back and retest and it's going to drop. We have no way of knowing that. I have no way of knowing that. I'm okay with taking a loss. I don't typically enter trades at this time, but we needed another trade room that kind of helped the people who were in a different country or a different time zone. And Pat's available in the morning. And the afternoon is not a great time to trade because it's right before the close of the day, so swaps get really high, right? Not only swaps, but spreads get really high. So even the spread can knock you out. So like if I did a trade room like at 1 p.m., the spread alone could knock you out. So this isn't like the perfect time to take an entry. A little earlier in the evening would be a better time. I would have more time to breathe and decide. But either way, especially if you're going to take a trade at this time, it's not a bad thing, but just make sure you can stomach it. Because, like I said, just going through whichever one it is, one of these. Let's minimize. This I posted at the beginning of the week, and I've sent pictures to the group of, okay, if I took these trades on Monday, this is what my outcome was. And that's not including stacking. Most weeks I average like 2,000 pips. Now, if I'm kind of playing a little bit safer and I'm watching the news a little bit better, I'm averaging 700 to 800 pips a week. And that's not bad. That's with the ones that went against me. And that's only trading 4 pairs at a time. And I've got months worth of this is what happened. So this was in the group a few days ago. I will post what happened with this in 10 days from here. And then, of course, this Friday, I'll check what happened as of last week. But I've already entered and exited those trades, I don't know, a multitude of times because I already either won or they got stopped out in my trailing stops. And that's great. So it's exactly what it's supposed to do. It's trading the way you're supposed to. So, yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry. All right, guys, are there any other questions, comments? A lot of people are kind of just hanging out with me. What are you guys doing?
I got a question. The way right now you have your chart set up is the way that you have your chart set up the whole entire time.
Let's go back. Yes. The way I have my chart set up, it's varied. I really, really like the money tree string. And that's my favorite of the money tree string with the big arrow and these lines. Like if I really wanted to clean it up, I would do that. I would probably delete Seabird, okay. Even the AA lines. Let's see what that looks like for a second. Because even with that, take any one of these. Oh, sorry. Take any pair. If your take profit is set properly, the idea that you can get, so you got a little arrow and then you've got the support and resistance line, your money tree string line turned colors, and of course this crossed over. This alone has a lot of signals in it when you learn to read it. So could you have gotten just say 10 pips, 20 pips? Yep, you could have. Like, so if your take profit, so you never want to take a trade that has a really bad risk to reward ratio. So you shouldn't be taking a trade that has a 40 pip stop loss and a 20 pip take profit.
Right.
So when you see ugly stuff, this would be considered ugly. Don't take it. So this would be against my rules in most cases. But a couple of my other trades closed out, so I'm okay with that. But if you only stick to a few rules, could you have gotten your few pips? So assumably your stop loss would be here. You got in somewhere around here because that's when you saw it. It's on the 1 hour chart. Could you have gotten your 30 to 40 pips? Hey, handsome pants. 1 second, guys. My little guy's in here. He wants his tablet unlocked for my little time restriction. Because I'm an Apple person, see?
Okay.
I gave you an hour, which is pretty good. Okay, sorry. He looks at me, 15 minutes? What? No. Yeah. Anyhow, so any one of these moves, just pick the move. And if you take it in the same direction as the big arrow, you're considered a safer trade. But if you, even if it's a 1-to-1, I'd prefer more like a 2-to-1 personally. But let's say you saw this and it pulled back. Your stop loss would be what? Let's say it was 27 or 30 pips. So if you went for 50 pips, yeah, you could. You could even move your stop loss into profit and then let it run. Then move your stop loss up and let it run. Like there's so much you can do when you learn to, I don't know, be disciplined. That's all I've got. I wish I had some magic bullet. But that's the magic bullet, is being disciplined. I promise. It is. So that's about it though. I'm in already 4 trades. I think that if I can make my schedule work, I have some out of town flights on Mondays, or I would have picked to do these Zooms on a Monday, because that's typically when I actually pick my couple of pairs. If I take a Monday, otherwise I trade them Tuesday morning. And that's how I trade, and that's been how I've trading. And the most thing I'm looking for, you can use that 9 and 18 cross along with the big and low arrow and the buy sell line. If you like the stochastic, use the stochastic. A friend of mine and I, we were talking about only following the stochastic. Only following the stochastic, it saves you from some really bad trades. It will always save you from some really bad trades. So do whichever ones your eyes see best, because my eyes might like these, or yours might like this. And they're reasonably accurate. Some are slower, some are faster, but they're all going to tell you the same story. That's just the reality. This needs to go up. It's working on it. Let's see. Well, we've got some movement on the CAD. Yeah. Who's typing? Well, come on, if I'm hanging out, I mean, I might as well get to know. You're typing in my ear. No, I'm joking. All right, guys, well, if you don't have any other questions or comments, I am going to go ahead and hop off. It was great hanging out. If you have any other questions, write them down for the next session. Maybe after my travel schedule changes a little bit, I'm definitely open to do these on a Monday night, which is when I pick my trades. And I literally think all I'm doing is dragging and dropping. I make a little list, and then I pick, however many from that list that don't have news and are the most likely. They have the most amount of evidence that say yes. And I take my trades. That's it. I'll let them run. Some of them close out in 2 days. Some of them close out in 9 days. It just depends.
Cool.
But that's all.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Awesome. Well, it was great hanging out with you guys, and I hope you have a fantastic evening and sweet dreams and all that good stuff, and I'll talk to you soon.
Cool.
Thank you.
Welcome. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Yeah.